Happy. I know how difficult it is to play every 3 days. We had a long week with a lot of traveling, and after that defeat to come here against a team that beat Liverpool, it was a tricky afternoon. But I think we started really well again. We were in control of the game and really happy to be back at the top again.
The bare minimum that we need in every game is to fight, regardless of tactics and anything else. And I just thought we were not strong enough in the duels, not competitive enough. Start of the second half is just something you cannot do in any game of football, especially in this league. And like I said, it came down to the non-negotiables of wanting to run, wanting to fight and not get beat. And the game was took away from us quickly in the second half because of that.
How about Reiss Nelson? Where did that come from?
Delighted for him. He fully deserves that, personally, for how he is, the way he's maturing, how well he's training every single day, and he's just screening for opportunities. He had one today and he grabbed it with both hands.
Well, Reiss, when you woke up this morning, did you think today was going to go like it has?
Nah, not at all. I thought it was just going to be get up, normal day, sit on the bench, and football. You never know what happens with football, and probably one of the best days. I'm delighted for it.
Just on Bukayo Saka, who went off injured there, he's going to be assessed over the next couple of days, we're told, having got a kick on the ankle. They were really slick, Arsenal, not for the first time this season.
They were excellent. I think the good thing about Arsenal now, they can mix up the game. I think today the Forest got caught out, Arsenal pressing really high, sometimes dropping, but the first clip you're going to see here, they just strangle them. If you see Arsenal's shape here, it's the 4-3-3. Tomiyasu really high there. But what's so good about this clip is they go from one end to the other so quickly. Ben White going to get his overlap. Saka's going to come inside. And look at the desire from Martinelli to get across his defender here. And I think Odegaard, we talk about getting into pockets of space and then creating space for others. That's exactly what he does. Draws a man onto him. Saka's only got one thing on his mind. Can I get in behind? And they didn't know how to deal with it all throughout the game. But this one doesn't materialise in anything, but it was just showing you the constant threat that Arsenal had. Here you got Xhaka here pointing, give the ball to Partey. He's got so much space in the middle of the park. What Xhaka going to do is going to break the lines. Can he get in behind, which allows Jesus to make his run, then create this space? We talk about width. We talk about rotation. We talk about all these things that Arsenal are adding to their game now. It's brilliant. One side to another, and great composure there from Nelson, who come on for the injured Saka. But this is my favourite clip of the lot. You got Jesus here, 1 against 2 at the back there. They look like they're in good shape, the Forest here. And we've circled Nelson here, who's going to score the goal. But when you've got the width of Martinelli, with Saka, with Reiss Nelson, Odegaard getting in there, and before you'd probably see maybe Martinelli try to go 1-3-1. Now he's taking his time, getting it from one side to the other. Then it's all about the timing. Have you got a composure to pick someone out? And we see there, Reiss Nelson, that's where he's going to run, in that little bit of space here. And, Forest have got the men back. But it's the willingness to get in. And this is what we're seeing from Arsenal now. They've got so much confidence, set from that man there. And, yeah, if these keep it up, we'll give Man City a challenge right through to the end.
When you look at them, Michail, as a fellow pro, do they just look like a group of players now where everybody knows their role?
Yeah, definitely. It's one of the things where you see them, you look at them, their structure, how they play, and everyone knows what everyone is. You can see with a couple of the passes that players are not even looking. They're just playing the ball, expecting someone to be there. This Arsenal team reminds me of the old Arsenal, the unbeatables. This is what you're seeing now, and how they're playing, and the free football. And that's one thing I've got to say well done to Arsenal for, and the owners and stuff, that they stuck with Arteta and now they're reaping the rewards.
As far as Forest are concerned, painful, I think Steve Cooper called it, painful viewing, way short today in terms of competing.
Yeah, he's always spot on with his assessment, is Steve Cooper. I think when you look at their performance last week against Liverpool, everything that they did, the desire, the work rate in the game against Liverpool just wasn't there today. The organisation element to the way that they played as well. And they just started the game poorly. You know, Martinelli scores after 5 minutes, but when you look at the kind of like the phase of play, so when this ball comes out to Bukayo Saka, they're in a good line. They're in a good position. Steve Cook in the middle of the box is having a look at Martinelli. He can see him. He has to take the space away from Martinelli here. He makes a great run, granted, but have a look at that. They've got 8 players in the box, right, against Martinelli. And Martinelli takes control of that situation and gets his goal. That was one of the kind of like phases of play, and there was plenty that I could have pulled out. In this situation here, when this ball eventually gets to Thomas Partey, you've got a scenario where you've got a midfielder, Yates, up against Granit Xhaka. You've got Freuler, the defensive midfield player, against Gabriel Jesus, and Cook is occupied by Martinelli. Now, Freuler cannot just run out there and leave that space, because as you can see, Granit Xhaka just drifted in behind. He's got all the time in the world, and they're lucky they got away with that one as well. And this was a reoccurring theme that kept happening in the game. On this occasion, they've got the ball. There's no reaction from any player to say, let's get back into shape. You've got 8 Arsenal players in their own half, which tells you ain't got much to deal with at the top end. But within one pass into Thomas Partey, he's got not a player around him. You've got your right back, who should be watching that run of Granit Xhaka, but he's more obsessed with Martinelli. So 2 passes, and I'm on the edge of your box now. This is the start of the second half. You've gone in at 1-0, and within a couple of minutes, you're 2-0 down, and it's basically game over. And this is identical again. Why is my centre-forward not chasing down Thomas Partey, who's a top player? Why is my back 5 not realising that there's time on the ball, we've got to drop quicker? Everyone was just standing and watching. You're playing against one of the most informed and best teams in the league right now, and they were lucky it was 5. Could have been 6 or 7 quite easily.
Is part of that down to the fact that they are by no means a settled side?
Yes, but there's also an element which Steve Cooper kind of like touched on. It's just work rate. It's just working hard for one another. It's communicating with each other. It's staying solid as a group of players. And they were a group of individuals today.
It's
and
just
they got
basics,
exposed.
though, isn't it, as well, JJ?
Yeah.
You talk about should a drop off or that. That's what you learn as a defender. When you're up against Arsenal, if someone's got time on the ball, like JJ said, you just drop it. You can have as many players as you want. And we talk about cohesion, of course, but they're just basic errors.
Yeah. On one of the goals, you think he's been a bit harsh, though, don't you? On the opening one?
I do.
Strikers union.
On the first goal, I do believe he's being a bit harsh because...
Harsh on who, though?
Being harsh on Cook.
Okay.
Because basically, the run, like the pace that he's running, that Cook's looked at him, but then with the ball being so short, Cook can't really get... Like, he could try and get across him, but because of the pace of it and he's just got there before him. I feel like the run that he's done and the pace, I think you're taking away what Martinelli's actually done and the ball from Saka instead of...
not taking it away.
Defense.
I totally agree with what you're saying because of the short cross. I just think because he's only got one player to deal with, he has to take control of that space, Cook. And whatever is going on behind him, that is for Sergio Aurier to deal with. But, you know, strikers and that, you know, got to look after each other, haven't they?
Is he, mate?
And with Forest, like you saying that settling time, I feel like in the Premier League you ain't got the time to settle. You need to perform. Because if you don't perform and you don't take it when you get your opportunities, then you're going to go down.
But it's now impossible to settle if you sign 20-odd players, isn't it? So soon.
That's one thing that is difficult when it comes to football. When you get so many players, an influx of players, it's hard to find your 11. It's hard to find how each other play because you learn by playing with each other and you learn how someone plays, and so the communication, the chemistry is not going to be there. So they're learning, but as the season's going. And one thing in the Premier League is you can't afford to learn while the season's going. You need to learn before the season. So one thing I feel they did to get in the situation they was is use the players that they had. And I feel that Steve Cooper should probably reward the people that got them to the Premier League and play them. Because end of the day, they got them there, and what they did to achieve the promotion to the Premier League was outstanding.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So I feel he should try and go back to that and work from there, and then maybe drip feed the